Well, as you may know, one of the causes that I've been trying to champion here on Parliament Hill has been family income splitting. And I personally think there are a lot of benefits. Obviously, it'll lower the overall taxation on many middle-class families, and also it gives some monetary value to unpaid work, like taking care of kids. And of course, it evens up the disparity between single income and dual income families. It even lets women who stay at home and look after kids who share income with a spouse, it allows them to make RRSP contributions for themselves. So I think there are a lot of benefits, but not everybody agrees. And certainly the conference we had on income splitting this week here on Parliament Hill, it brought out some of those voices, pro and con. But it is an important issue, and I think that the Minister of Finance, Jim Flaherty, is giving this some consideration for the coming budget. I certainly hope so. But let's pursue this a little bit more. So I'd like to talk right now with someone that I respect. His name is John Williamson. He's Federal Director of the Canadian Taxpayers Association. So, John, I've got to ask you this question first. For starters, does your association, I know you guys have fought for lower taxes overall, do you guys accept the principle of family income splitting and maybe leading to a family tax return, yes or no?
Well, the short answer is yes. We applauded the government when they came out with their pension splitting for seniors, and we see no reason why similar benefits should not go to all families up and down the income ladder in this country. However, the one caveat is we also want to see marginal tax rate come down for individual earners as well, so all Canadians can benefit from lower taxes. While I think it's important to rectify the inequality in the current system whereby some households, mostly with one income earner, pay more taxes than those with two income earners, that's an important goal to get to. We also need to recognize that individuals pay too much tax, and those top income rates have to come down as well.
All right, so you're saying that you'd prefer broad-based tax reductions for all Canadians. I think we agree on that. So what are you going to ask Mr. Flaherty to do? Are you looking to lower the bottom tax rate back down to where the Liberals had it in their 2005 budget, or are you looking to reduce all marginal tax rates, including on upper income earners?
That's a good question. We'd like to see Mr. Flaherty deliver a 4 or 5 year broad-based income tax package that reduces all rates for all income earners. We've had enough talk on Parliament Hill about only cutting taxes for low-income Canadians. It's time for lawmakers to actually look at all taxpayers, because every Canadian in this country is paying too much tax. So there are a couple things the Finance Minister can do. He can incorporate a plan that raises the basic personal exemption and the spousal exemption to $15,000 over 4 years. He can incorporate, or he could incorporate some income splitting. But the bottom line as well, if he adopts either of those two measures, he also has to bring down the top marginal rates. Namely, the top rate is 29%, it should go to 26%. The second rate is 26% currently, it should go to 23%. So we cannot forget about the importance of cutting those rates to improve our economic performance and improve our productivity.
John, there's been some speculation that the next budget will bring in a rollover for capital gains tax. In other words, Mr. Flaherty is expected to allow people to realize a gain on selling assets, get a capital gain, but not pay tax on that gain if they reinvest that money into another asset within 6 months. Where do you stand on that? Do you think this is a good policy initiative or not? Some people have said it only benefits really the super wealthy. So where do you sit on this?
It's the idea of a capital gain deferral or rollover is an exceptional policy. When it was announced in the campaign a year ago, our organization, the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, called it the most pro-growth policy announced by any party. It will benefit all Canadians currently saving for retirement. And to call it something that's just going to benefit the so-called super rich is laughable. Currently, the top 10% of income earners pay over 50% of all personal taxes going to Ottawa. And that 10% starts at income over $65,000. So when we talk about the super rich, or when opponents talk about the super rich, I'd love to know who they're talking about, because right now, when you have that level of income paying so much money, the idea that we should encourage people to save more and save more for retirement is good policy, because right now, if people don't save enough for retirement, they're just going to end up relying on government entitlement programs. So get people to save by cutting capital gains tax is smart policy, because it empowers people to save for their future and gets them off government entitlement programs.
And finally, John, how much do you think that income taxes can come down? I mean, obviously, the government of Canada, including this Conservative government, has increased federal spending a lot. And we are obviously every year spending more and more government money, and we don't want to get into deficit. So how much room do you think there actually is right now? How much should people expect this Conservative government is going to actually cut taxes?
Well, there's significant room. The current federal government, the Conservative government, has increased spending already this year by over 7%. That is a huge amount of money. But even with that spending increase, the surplus for the current year is likely to hit $10 billion, giving the government a lot of room to cut taxes. In fact, they could cut taxes even further if they were to stop funding things like corporate welfare. Recently, Pratt & Whitney was handed $350 million. We're told Bombardier is going to receive another $350 million. So if Ottawa was to actually even begin to trim back its program, there'd be even more money. But even on the surface, this $10 billion should go back to Canadian taxpayers. Let's fix the real fiscal imbalance, the one between Ottawa and taxpayers, by cutting taxes. So I think there's a lot of room. The question is, will Mr. Flaherty actually deliver a budget that provides for broad-based income tax relief? And I'm actually not sure. There's a lot of talk of returning money to provinces, or I should say giving money to provinces, which might actually leave taxpayers out in the cold. And that would be, I think, regrettable for this government, because it would be a real break with taxpayers who are looking for some relief in the next budget.
John Williamson, Canadian Taxpayers Federation, thank you very much. Appreciate you being with us.
Thank you. My pleasure. It was good to be with you again, Garth.